Welcome back, my friends. This is the ChompCast. I'm Jake. This is
Trey.
Who is the Jarvitar. We're going to be doing a brothers podcast, which we've done before. We talked about nostalgia and video games in our childhood probably 4 or 5 months ago now.
I mean, wasn't it January?
Was it that long ago?
I think it was that long.
Dang. Anyways, we wanted to have Trey on again, and we're probably going to have him be a regular guest because he's now an integral part of the business.
I'm here.
And we are so excited to talk about his comeuppance in the vendor space, the Pokemon card space. He's obviously a guy with tons of Pokemon knowledge in his brain. But today we're going to talk about, is it even possible to kind of learn what you need to learn in 5 or 6 months to become a full-time vendor? And you're a good example of that.
Well, let's do it. Let's
go right into it, man. So maybe let's just start with the obvious. When was your first time vending at a card show?
Well, it's a kind of an interesting question because I came down just to go to a retro games con with you and our older brother in August
of last year. Yeah.
And all I did was stand there and tell people you would be back when you went to the bathroom.
So not much in the way of wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, I didn't sell a card. I didn't know anything about the cards beyond, a couple of the cards that I knew was in my childhood collection, which we've recently found.
Yeah.
But then I came down to a local show just here in Utah. What was it? Just a couple months later when we went to that UFC fight.
Yeah. So that would have been like maybe just the next month, like September, because that was before I left my full-time job.
Yeah.
And it was up in Ogden, so north of us. So you kind of just met me there. So that would have just been maybe like a month after that Retro Game Con.
And I think that I did sell a card there.
Shout out.
Where, and by sell a card, I mean someone paid full sticker and just handed me cash.
Yeah. See?
So
that officially makes you a Pokemon vendor.
That happened. But as far as like a legit, genuine vendor experience, it was LA Collecticon in March.
Oh, yeah. So that would have been right into the beginning of what I would call like the change in the market that we're seeing this year. And it got to the point where our booth was getting too busy for me to man alone without just getting, a line all the way around the corner. And so I wanted to have someone who was going to be able to not just like be there with me. So like, if I needed to use the bathroom or, walk around for a bit, that they could watch the table for security purposes, but someone who could actually like buy, sell, trade. That was the first time that I was needing someone who could maybe buy, sell, trade. So let's talk about that first Collecticon in LA. What were you thinking going into it? How were you feeling? And how did you get ready for what was inevitably going to be an overwhelming experience?
Well, it's interesting because there's a very important part of the story that I've never told you because I didn't want you to feel bad. Before LA Collecticon, maybe around December, a band that I love, Bad Sons, was going on tour, and they announced a tour date in Salt Lake City. And I bought tickets. I bought 2 tickets.
Dude, the Bad Sons were in town?
They were in town. They were in town with Phineas. And so I bought tickets, one for me and one for just a date that I would bring. And I didn't know who I was going to bring, but I knew I was going to. Flash forward a couple months later, I find someone I want to invite with me. I booked a hotel.
No way.
And everything was ready to go. And then you texted me like, hey, man, do you want to come down and vend it in LA with me? And I was like, yeah.
No, it was the same week. No way. Weekend. I didn't know that.
I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to feel bad.
No.
I wanted to see the band, but like, there's a part of me that knew it's like, no. You need to do this now.
Yeah.
You need to do this right now.
This is the time.
Did
you at least get a refund?
No.
What?
No, I ate the whole cost of the ticket and the hotel.
I did not know this.
And so it was.
That's crazy.
Because especially, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to feel responsible for like, for that, and especially not for that cost. Because I was like, no, I made the decision to forego, and I could have gone. I wasn't required to go to LA at the time because like at the time I was just your brother who was making like other Pokemon games content. I wasn't really involved in JARCHOMP at all.
Yeah.
And so I decided to just say screw it and go with you.
Dude, I did not know that. That's crazy.
And I'm so glad I did because it was such an experience. I was so naive. I was so fresh. I was so young. This is only 6 months ago. I feel like a different person now.
Yeah, you're an old man now.
It was my 25th birthday too. Was that weekend.
That's right.
And we drive down there, and the whole time down, I'm just like in my head and on my phone, just trying to learn as much as I can about the cards right now, about the sets, because I had opened a good amount of Evo Skies, a good amount of late Sword Shield, but almost no Scarlet Violet.
Yeah.
I was so fresh, and we get there, and it was just unlike anything I could have even anticipated, because it was 1,000 tables.
Yeah, it's in the LA Convention Center, right there across the street from the place where the Lakers play. What's their arena called again?
Well, it was the Staples Center. Now it's the Crypto Arena.
Yeah.
It's
right next to Crypto Arena.
Yeah, the Staples Center.
Yeah, and it's a huge event. If I remember right, is it the first Collecticon of the year? I don't remember.
I don't know.
All I know is everyone was going to be there. It's LA. It's Collecticon, and my intention that weekend was really just to see how it was going to go, because I had never been to a Collecticon either as a buyer or as a seller, and I didn't know exactly what to expect. Luckily, I was able to get some tables from our friend Carson. Shout out Carson, C5 Collectibles.
We love C5.
And I was kind of in a similar boat where I was like, okay, we're just gonna have to go and figure this out. So we get to the venue the day before, and we pack in and everything, and we're staying at the hotel just across the intersection there from the event center. And then, the next morning we were just kind of off to the races as far as vending is concerned. And basically right at 9, which is when the VIPs start to come in, we had people at our table. And then from then on, all throughout the day. So with that kind of volume and the number of people talking to you and asking for your attention and asking for your, perspective on cards and all that kind of stuff, how did you feel knowing as much as you knew back then?
Well, the funniest thing is that people were coming to the booth knowing that you were an authority. They knew that you were an authority, and I'd been on the podcast before, so a few people knew that I was at least your brother.
Yeah.
And so they were assuming that I had some amount of knowledge. But I'm there, I'm comping cards, and I'm learning how to comp cards. I'm downloading Alt at the convention center because I don't know how to look up the price on slabs.
Yeah.
I have no idea what our margins are. I have no idea what is a good deal for us, what cards we even want. I'm like taking in like $2 EXs because I'm like, well, it's a card.
It's a chase card.
It's a card. I've opened this and been hyped before.
Yeah.
I'm handing someone a Pokemon Center ETB instead of a normal ETB because I don't know what the difference is.
I think, is that so you do that at that show, and in that same show you also just like dropped money on the floor? Isn't that the same show?
Yeah. I'm like I'm trying to get because it's like there's so much happening and like
Yes.
the volume of transactions. I'm like talking to 3 people at once, and I don't know what I'm talking about, which is not a really great combination. And I'm dropping cash on the floor. And I'm just building up this after the fact reputation of just being a goob.
A goob, stealing my beverage while I'm in the bathroom.
I'm stealing your beverage. But the best part was it was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And we went out to dinner that evening with Arvin, shout out Goated Poles, and Dylan, shout out Bulbasaur. People who I had seen their content. And they were content creators to me. And then we go to dinner. It's like, I don't know. Like, we're all just guys.
Yeah.
We're all just folks.
Yeah. Just Pokemon people.
We're Pokemon people. And it turns out Dylan's like way into Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds, and I'm way into Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds. So it's like
Shout out Yu-Gi-Oh.
shout out Yu-Gi-Oh. And so it was a very, 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 very revealing experience. And the crazy thing about it is that we do that show, right? And we're going a mile a minute, and so much information is just being like shoved into my head.
Yeah.
And the plan, if I remember right, was for me not to do another show until like the Seattle front row or the Houston Collecticon.
Yeah.
But literally I get home from the LA Collecticon and you're like, hey man, do you want to come to Portland? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey man, do you want to come to Pasadena? Okay. Hey man, do you want to come to Phoenix?
Yeah.
Okay.
So tell people about the logistics of you going to these shows, though, because right now you and I, we just live down the street from each other, and it's very convenient. And like, we get home from a show, and I just, drop you off at your place, and then, I drive like 2 seconds to get back to my house. What was it back then when you were, tagging along at some of these first shows?
Whenever I tell people this, they think I'm crazy. Up until literally a month ago, I was living in Idaho, of all places, going to school, and I'm still a student. I transferred online so that I could do this full time. I was living in Idaho, in Rexburg, near Idaho Falls, which from where me and Jake are at, it's 4 hours one way. So to get to Jake, so that I could get to a show, I would drive 4 hours and then get in the car with Jake and drive however long. So there were times, LA is an example, where I would drive down 4 hours. I'd wake up at like 6 a.m., meet up with you, and then you and I would pack up the car and then drive another 10 hours. And then sometimes we'd finish up with a show, we'd go to sleep, we'd wake up, and then we'd start driving back to Utah, and I'd get in my little Pontiac, and I'd drive another 4 hours. I wouldn't get home until like midnight or 1 a.m.
Yeah, it was like 14, 15-hour travel days to get back from these shows for you. And then the very next day, you're like, well, at least at the very beginning, you still had your part-time job.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you'd have like work the next day and classes and homework and a social life and the whole bit.
Yeah, the whole time I'm still maintaining a full class load over 12 credits. I was still working my part-time job, and my part-time job at the time was unbelievably accommodating, so supportive of what I was doing, and knew that this was something that was legit and that they wanted to support me on it, so they gave me the time that I needed, which was incredible.
Very cool.
And I loved working there, and it also gave me the skills necessary to like make content, which was really, really cool. But then also on top of streaming and card shows, and on top of school and work and card shows, I'm streaming.
Yeah, you're streaming because you play on Twitch the Pokemon games all the time.
Yeah, I'm on Twitch. I'm playing Nuzlocks and challenges and things like that. I'm trying to like do that at least 2 times a week for 4 or 5 hours. And so I had no time to do anything.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
You're on the grind.
And so I, all that with like a fierce desire to not be ignorant. I wanted so badly to know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to card prices, when it comes to market trends, when it comes to, card history. One thing that you guys would love to know is that I know a whole lot about the Pokemon games, and Jake knows a whole lot about the Pokemon cards. And so what we have done several times while driving to shows is we'll go back and forth with top tier trivia, where Jake will ask me a super niche Pokemon card question, and I'll ask him a super niche Pokemon games question, and we'll go back and forth and
just
back
try
and
to
forth.
stump each other.
And the thing is, like, we both know so much about our respective, sides, and now both of us are learning more about the other, and we're just becoming Pokemon masters.
Ultimate Poke Brain. So that's a crazy transitionary time. We've gotten you down to Utah, living closer to us, and we are, obviously you stay in the same town, and we can kind of work on the business without you having to travel all the time. Mm-hmm. What has this transition been like for you? And, what does a regular day look like for someone now that is full-time in the Pokemon business?
It's so interesting because it's been a massive transition, and I just feel so much more involved. A regular day, it's so strange because I feel like I'm working always, but not working.
Right.
In that I love what I'm doing. I'm so passionate about it, and it's so genuinely interesting to me and engaging to me. Be that working on pieces of content, be that hosting streams with you, be that packing orders, or the hundreds of other things that we end up doing in a given day, pricing cards.
We price cards a lot.
Well, in a market like this, you have to price your cards every 3 hours if you want to stay consistent.
Yeah, shout out the Gray Feltat Pikachu, which I saw recently sold for $2,500. 10 days ago, I sold it for literally 50% of that.
We sold 2 copies for $1,250. 2 copies.
Jeez, dude.
It's like we're making money, but it's almost like we'll make more money by not making money.
Yeah. I've been saying that kind of thing for so many months in a row. But anyways, yeah, you're an integral part of the business. And the interesting thing about it is, like, it's especially because we're still a very young business, there isn't like a standard schedule yet. There isn't a clear, like, this happens on Mondays and this happens on Tuesdays. A lot of it is kind of project based, as we're just building out what needs to happen. When is the stream going to happen? When is the show going to happen? And what are the things that we need to get ready in order for those to go successfully? But we're still talking about, you getting accustomed to the life of being a full-time card vendor. And when we go to these shows, we've got so many people coming up to the table and talking to us and asking questions, and does it ever kind of dawn on you that, like, literally 5-6 months ago you didn't have almost any understanding of this, and now you're at a point where you're seen kind of as an authority when you're at the show?
Yeah, I mean, it was never in my mind that it wasn't something that I could learn, and I think that a lot of that was based on the sheer amount of Pokemon knowledge I had in the beginning. If I can memorize base stat totals and evolution methods and generations where Pokemon are introduced, I can memorize set names. I can memorize market trends. I can memorize
chase cards.
I can, and that type of thing. And so it's the same repository of information. It's just shifted in a little bit of a different direction. And I think that when you're so genuinely passionate about something, when you get to that point where you are just like fiending for information, you get it. When you want to know something so bad, you learn it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know it so bad, but I don't feel like I have any kind of imposter syndrome as far as like being seen as like somewhat of an authority in this space, because I do feel like I've done the work.
Yeah.
I feel like I've spent so much more time this year obsessing over Pokemon cards than I've ever thought I would spend.
Yeah. It's still a transition though, right? And there's going to be periods of time where, like, there's struggles and there's mistakes and all that kind of stuff. So over the last 6-7 months, as you've really gotten deep into the hobby, deep into the space, what's been something that's been really tough and uncomfortable for you?
Well, it's very interesting because, not to glaze you because I'm your little brother, but you are a definitive authority in the space, and you are what I think is, this is coming with a grain of salt because I am your brother, but I think that you are the best vendor.
Shout out Jarvitar.
I think you are genuinely. And am I biased? Yes. But a lot of that is just due to the sheer amount of time that I've spent next to you. You know a good deal, and you know how to make a deal good for both parties, which is the type of skill that very few people have, because it requires an amount of care and empathy that not a lot of folks possess. Where you're able to take care of yourself and take care of your customer. It's an incredible thing. And people recognize that. And so people want to go to you.
Yeah.
Not me.
Well, but what I've noticed is that because you've gotten so much more comfortable at the table, I get the chance to step away frequently at some of these shows, which has been such a blessing for me, because one of the things that got me into the space was going to card shows.
Yeah.
And walking around and finding the cards that I need and chopping it up with some of the vendors and talking about how they got the, what's been their favorite deal and all this kind of stuff. And that's just, I just love immersing myself in that environment. And sometimes when I'm at the table and it's just one after another, like, don't get me wrong, I love doing business with people. But it's like, man, I drove all this way and I don't even get to walk around and buy the cards I want.
I want to look at cool cards.
And so now that I have you, especially when some of the days, there's hours that are slower towards the end of the day or whatever, I can 100% trust you and just leave you there. And it's also kind of entertaining because, like, I'll be walking around and I'll just get like notifications on my phone that say someone Venmo'd you $300, and I'm just like, oh wow, this is great.
Wow, passive income.
Passive income while I'm walking around the table. So that's kind of fun. But I've also, there's a lot of times where I'm just talking to somebody and you're just off doing a deal on the other side of the booth. And I don't need to do any sort of oversight because you've now done so many deals and we've kind of broken them down afterwards. And you've talked about, hey, these are the cards that they had. These were the conditions. This is what we took in. This is the margin. This is why it's good for us. They were so excited, blah, blah, blah. And there's just a whole bunch of confidence that's built up in me about you to do what we need to do for the business and for the people. And you're exactly right that it's a skill that you have to develop to come to an agreement with someone over things that are valuable to both parties. And they want something from you, and you want something from them, and everybody wants to make a financially savvy decision in regards to, what they actually care about. And you want to do a deal that is going to help perpetuate the business and make them a return buyer. And that's a dance. It's a complicated balance, especially when market prices of these items is shifting so rapidly, and you have no idea in your, at first impression, how someone feels about the cards that they have. What's their emotional attachment to them, and you have to suss that out. You have to ask them. You have to talk to them, and you've taken that skill set on very well. And one of the things that tells me that you're having a lot of fun with it is just at the end of the shows, you're like, yeah, dude, we did great. And, I didn't feel like I needed to be anywhere else today, and I that feels really good for me because, of course, I want a successful business and, financial freedom and blah, 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 like everyone wants in their life. But what we've talked about and what has kind of become apparent on other podcasts that I've been on or done is that it's cool to have a business with your family and your siblings, and create an environment that ends up being a cool opportunity for them, and that's incredibly fulfilling for me.
Oh yeah, and the best part of all of it is I'm able to get a bunch of cool cards.
Yeah. We travel all this way, do all these deals, but also we go home with a bunch of stuff in our do not sell pile.
I get a bunch of loot.
Yeah.
So I was only like 2 cards away from getting all of my Tyrannitars. Mm-hmm. But now that I've gone back to TCG player, gone back to collector, and decided I wanted to be a little bit more thorough, now I got to get prize pack Tyrannitars and staff promo Tyrannitars.
We need all English T-Tars.
I need every single one.
Did you already reorganize your binder too?
I already reorganized my binder.
Oh, I love it.
I did. And then I've got my God binder that I'm working on. We were joking about it at the last show, but Jake loves to make fun of how I look at the cards that I get.
We'll put it in a video one day. But Trey, he'll get a new card, and then most of the cards that you're chasing have holographic pattern on them.
And right now most of them are like $5 and under.
Yeah, and you'll just get a new card, and you'll just move it around in the light.
It's just wow.
Wow, how beautiful.
Wow.
Oh, it's so good. But that's the cool thing about the hobby is like you can get just as pumped about a $1 card, a $5 card, a $500 card, a $5,000 card. It just really has to do with, is it something that you're chasing for a set or for a specific purpose? And it's very gratifying to be able to, to add that to the collection and build a binder or whatever, a display that you're really excited about. So we talked about what has been difficult in the adjustment. We have a lot of people send us messages offline, online, etc. about, hey, it's my first show, or I'm thinking about getting into vending. What are some of the things, because, you compared to myself, you are more recently new to the hobby or to the vending business. What are some things that you might say to someone who says, what tips and tricks do you have for people who are getting into this business?
I think that developing a genuine passion for the product is so critical. Because right now we're experiencing this insane euphoria with market prices just skyrocketing, and it's seeming like this infinite money glitch, and it's not. Things ebb and flow in different ways, and the pendulum swings. But if you are if you are really wanting to get into this space, if you develop a genuine passion, build up a personal collection for the cards, and always be looking forward to the hobby, it's going to give you more fuel when things aren't just skyrocketing and going insane.
Yeah. Or, it's not just about the market too. It's also about the fact that this is work.
It's like definitely work.
Yeah. Tell people about our travel schedule for the last few weeks.
Oh my gosh. So, and keep in mind, I think we can even go back like a month. I bring my first load down of stuff from my old place to the new place. And I bring that load of stuff down. I stash it in your garage, and then we go to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had signed the lease for the new place, but we hadn't actually gotten keys to move in yet.
Yeah.
So everything you brought down, we just had to leave in our garage.
Yeah, left all my guitars and stuff in your garage. We go and do Vegas.
Hold on, you skipped. Yeah. We also had a family wedding.
And we
You came down. We had a family wedding. Hold on.
Okay.
One step before that.
Yeah.
One step before that. We all, you, me, Frannie, fly to North Carolina.
Yes.
We stay there for a couple of days, and then drive from Raleigh to Charlotte. Tire blows up on the way to Charlotte. We do the Charlotte Collecticon, fly out from Charlotte Sunday night.
Yes.
Get in at home at like 1 a.m.
I go to bed.
We sleep here. Then you drive Monday morning back to Idaho so that you can come back Wednesday.
And I streamed on Tuesday.
You streamed on Tuesday. Wednesday, you brought your first load of stuff from your apartment. Then we had a family wedding that Thursday. The next day, Friday, you and me drive to Las Vegas for Vegas front row. We stay there, and then we drive back Sunday night, and then we have 1 weekend off, and then it was back to back San Diego, Pasadena, and then we just had this local show here in Ogden, and we drove from Utah to San Diego, drove back the following
And throughout all this, I'm driving to Idaho and back with more loads of stuff.
Yeah. And then we drive to Pasadena, and we drive back. In Pasadena, we left on Sunday and just drove all the way from SoCal to Utah. Then the night of the Sunday show, which means we got in Utah at 5 a.m.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 a.m.
And all that time, we're also streaming multiple times a week, putting out multiple videos, moving you into this new apartment. This has just been an insane summer.
It's been insane. I mean, yeah, we drive back from. Oh, wait. Yeah, we get from San Diego, right? And on a Monday, we get in at like 2 or 3 or something back to Utah.
Yeah, around the early afternoon.
And I open up the laptop, and I literally am editing the binder, like the childhood binder collection video for like 10 straight hours.
Yeah.
So that can be ready for the following day.
Post the next day.
Like, it's just been. Oh, and I'm editing in the car too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot. So the reason we're talking about this is because this is work.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have a passion for the cards and the hobby, if it's just about money.
There's so many easier ways to make money.
So with that in mind, you are, finishing up your degree while also planning to work full time in this business, in the JARCHAMP business. What's the ideal outcome for you? What do you hope this turns into?
I think the ideal outcome, is the big dream is that we're able to turn this business into something that makes sense for you, me, potentially our sister, whoever else from our family is interested in it, into something that's going to work for all of us long term.
Yeah.
The best aspect of this whole thing, and I'm going to get so sappy.
Let's go.
The best thing about this whole thing, you're 6 years older than me. And so, growing up, the second I was conscious of events occurring around me, you had friends in middle school and friends in high school, and our parents were divorced, so we're going to different houses on different weeks, and so I didn't really see you as much as I would have liked growing up.
Yeah.
And then you got married young, and you've been a whole adult for a long time. And of course, we've been playing video games a lot, but I've seen you more times this year than I've seen you probably any year before, maybe like 2010.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's another really cool thing about this is so many siblings, when they leave the house, they don't create too many meaningful memories together after that time when they're, graduate high school or whatever. And just by our nature, we all kind of left the hometown that we grew up in and, struck out on our own and, college and whatever, which meant that up until we started to do this Jarchomp business, we saw each other a couple times a year, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
I'm like, say for example, in like 2021, I came down once we decided to do a big like Thanksgiving opening of Evo Skies or something, where we ripped what is the equivalent of
Stop! Don't tell them.
$7,000-8,000 of Evo Skies today.
Oh, yes.
And we pulled nothing.
We pulled full art Suicune.
So many Suicune Vs. Why? And so we did that. Maybe a Christmas here or there, because I'm doing my thing up there. You're doing your thing down here, and our lives didn't intersect too much. But now it's like I know you better than I ever have.
Yeah,
and it's awesome because we're homies.
Yeah,
it's tight.
Bros hanging out, working on the business together. And we're having fun with it, and that's the most important part. And people come up to the table and they ask us like, "How's life?" And it's like we're living the dream, and that is not a cliche.
Yeah, we're not saying that tongue in cheek. Like, no, I'm like we're living the dream right now. This is awesome.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's all roses and it's easy. Like we're working more than we ever have, and there's stressful things, and we're growing and having to gain new skills, and things are complex, but we're pursuing something we care about.
Yeah, something more fulfilling than simply just living the dream. I feel like we're earning the dream. Like we are working, and the the reward for our work is the dream right now, and it's incredible.
Yeah. So let's shift over to your take on the market, because that's something that I think that your 6 months in the hobby is a really cool lens to look through. A lot of the people that I've interviewed have been in for a number of years, maybe some for many years, and their perception of values and stuff like that, it takes into account some price memory. I mean, obviously you and I opened some boxes back when they're quite a bit cheaper, but when you and I were opening packs, I was never talking to you about like how much I paid for them or anything like that. It was just like, come over and rip some packs and I'll cover it with my tech job money or whatever. But now that you've kind of been pretty serious since March, and now we're in September, what have you seen as far as trends, as far as, things to think about for those that are curious about the experience of a vendor and their proximity to the market?
Well, I've had the perception of that the Pokemon hobby, in regards to, prices ebbing and flowing, it's a very, very healthy market. And the reason that I say that is because there are so many islands in the Pokemon hobby, be they the different generations or the different card types, and each island gets its time in the sun.
Yeah.
Since I've started, there was a tag team boom, and then that leveled out. There was a mega boom.
Mega boom.
Mega
Boom.
I met them at LA Collecticon.
That's true, you did.
That was crazy.
Shout out Costco guys.
Shout out the Costco guys. The Megas had their time in the sun, and then they've kind of like chilled out. And now, right now, what we're seeing is Sword and Shield alt arts are getting their time in the sun, and then I'm sure that they'll level out to a healthy price point. So there's no such thing as the entire market exploding and the entire market falling.
Yeah.
There is so many different things all going up and all going down, which is an indication of a very healthy market. And if you as a vendor have an inventory that is very diverse, you don't feel any pain.
Yeah, you're pretty insulated because some things are up and some things are down.
Yeah, so all of your gains make up for your losses, and vice versa. But if you're a vendor who's chasing hype and chasing trends, you do run the risk of substantial gains if you invest all into one currently hyped.
Speculating with the value of your inventory.
Exactly. For example, I know that there are certain vendors that I love and adore that are so all in on level X's right now.
Yeah.
Because they've seen Sun and Moon, and they've seen XY, and now they've seen Sword Shield all going up, and they're like, oh yeah, Diamond Pearl, baby.
Diamond and Pearl's got to have a turn.
It's got to have a turn. It hasn't really had a turn. It's got to have a turn. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they're gorgeous cards, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's just kind of how I view it, is that it's such a diverse hobby that to despair about things being too expensive or being undervalued. It's just things ebb and flow. For example, this is a really good example. I have a card in my T-Tar collection. It's the Delta Species Tyranitar EX from Dragon Frontiers, right? I bought it for $170 in Portland in March. It is still $170. Hasn't gone down, hasn't gone up. That's, certain cards get their time in the sun, certain cards don't. I also bought a Mega Tyrant. Well, I didn't buy. We made a deal, and it was graciously gifted to me.
Shout out Jarchomp.
Shout out Jake, and shout out Trader John's, Derek and John, for the Mega Tyranitar from Ancient Origins, just the normal half art EX in a 10. We got it for $100 valuation, and they took a bunch of binder cards out of our binder and that card is now about $600 because that's just where that's where that hype hit, and I had substantial gains. I think the Dragon Frontiers card is way cooler.
Yeah.
But it hasn't gone up or down because there hasn't been attention on it.
Yeah.
And there probably will be at some point. There might, or maybe value will go down. But I've seen in my Tyranitar binder, which is a binder that spans every generation, that same ebb and flow happened throughout the different generations.
Yeah, it's such a great point that as attention shifts, money flows towards the attention. But one interesting thing that again you haven't quite been through yet, that I'm curious to see if it will happen this year, next year, maybe the year after, is when the value of your entire inventory just slowly over the few weeks goes down. And I haven't seen that this year, but I remember weeks last year where I had to resticker everything that I brought to a show compared to the week or 2 weeks before that. And it's hard to say what exactly would cause that now, because there seem to be so many tailwinds. We've got so much attention coming into the hobby because of great sets, because of record sales on certain cards that are gaining attention, even in the media. We've got big investors talking about the collectibles industry in general. We've got 30th anniversary coming up. We got Legends ZA coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think actually a month, almost to the day.
Yeah. So there's so many things that are keeping the hype hyping, and it's a great time to be a vendor, but also it seems to be, in my mind, a risky time to be a vendor, because as we go to these shows, the inventory is valuable, and it feels like there's so much opportunity to, turn a profit or, make realized and unrealized gains on your inventory value, that it's like, wow, why would I put my money anywhere else? But we all know that there should be some diversification to keep yourself safe. But also there should be some security measures. We saw every week it seems like some more information comes out about a vendor, getting burglarized or threatened or whatever in the parking lot, robbed right at their table at a card show.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, it's this industry is it's young. It's kind of bootstrap, there's young people in it. There's, 30 somethings, 40 somethings. There's people in their 70s who are selling Pokemon cards at these shows. Do you feel, now that you've been in it for 6 months or so, relatively full time, do you feel like this is something that is like a legitimate long-term business work environment for you?
I think so. I think, when it comes to, as far as the question, is it meant to be like, do you think that the industry can be considered a legitimate, in as far as like in the greater field of business? Because I think so, of course. Because when it all comes down to it, all value is ascribed value. What do we think about a thing?
Yeah.
And I think Pokemon cards are cool. And a lot of other people think that Pokemon cards are really cool.
Seems like more every day.
Because Pokemon cards are cool.
Shout out Pokemon.
Shout out Pokemon. Definitive shout out. Shout out Pokemon. Pokemon cards are cool, and in my eyes, they have value. And all business is all just handshake agreements on people who agree on things that have value. And as long as people agree, then business can keep going. And I know that I'm going to agree with several other people going forward that Pokemon cards have value.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think it's legitimate.
I love it. Thank you for your time, my friend. We got to get back to work on some other things that are going on because we got stream tonight. Tell us about the stream. What do we do there?
Okay. So for those who've not stopped by the Drip stream, for the last month or so, we've been hosting sales streams on Drip that are then simulcast to YouTube, where we rip packs with folks, where we sell singles, where we sell slabs, do auctions, giveaways, so much stuff. And we've just been having an insane time with you guys And I know that, several of the people that are going to be watching this have been there, and they can vouch in the comments or so that it's a good time. And that I pull heat.
Yeah, Trey pulls chase cards. Just last week, Trey pulled the Lugia V Alt Art from Silver Tempest out of a pack.
Yep.
2 weeks before that, Gengar VMAX.
Yep.
So tons of good stuff. We've got multiple Charizards from 151.
2 151 Zards and a Blastoise in one day, and the Shining Fates Zard.
Yeah, we pulled a Reshiram BWR.
That was you.
And so it's been a lot of fun. So we're opening packs, but also we use it as an opportunity to kind of give people first crack at our business inventory, our card show inventory. So we're showing singles and slabs and just interacting and hanging out. So if you guys are into Pokemon cards and you want a community to hang out with and see our card show inventory, even if you can't meet us in person, then tune in on Drip. Today, Tuesday, we'll be live at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so pretty much right around the time that you might be watching this if you're seeing it on the day that we posted. Other than that, Jarvitar, where can the people find you and what are you up to?
Okay, well, I am on Twitch, the Jarvitar. I'm playing Pokemon Fire Red right now and having a great time. I'm also on Instagram, the Jarvitar. Stop by, drop a follow, and come by the stream. We have a great time.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. See you tonight if you're on Drip. Take it easy.